are live. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Blake Ruffino. This is Are You Serious Sports. We hope that you guys are making it going. We know that we are as well. Huge show in store for you tonight. Solomon Wilcox, former Cincinnati Bengal and Colorado Buffalo, joins us at 7:30. It is his first time joining us. Want to talk about it. Listen, is Joe Burrow going to be the highest paid football player of all time? We'll ask Solomon Wilcox, what does he think about Deion Sanders and the Colorado Buffaloes? What will they do? I really like Solomon. I think it's going to be a really, really good guest segment. But Ruffino's rants to start off. Brian Kelly was out in Texas this week and had some interesting words that I do think got taken a little bit out of context. Nevertheless, Alabama fans completely overreacting to that, saying, oh, he's just giving Nick Saban fuel for the fall. Well, let's not act as if that Alabama's in the greatest state right now, and let's not act like that Nick Saban about a year ago didn't call out 5 head coaches around the country, and one of those coaches almost beat him. Oh, and LSU did. Yeah, might want to be quiet as well. But not the only LSU Bama related news today. As Brad Bohannon, what an idiot. What an outright idiot. How dumb do you have to be to not only gamble or tell somebody to gamble when it can be easily found out? What makes human beings so dumb? Brad Bohannon looks like the guy off The Water Boy who says, I might not be a handsome man. I might not be charming. Zach, can you find a picture of the guy that played that in The Water Boy? He was like, I think he said Joe Montana. He was the one that said Joe Montana. That's what Brad Bohannon looks like. What an idiot, man. What an idiot, an outright idiot. We'll talk about that as well. LSU baseball preview. The Tigers are currently taking batting practice in Auburn. We'll touch on that as well. We'll break down a little bit of that series coming up in the Plains. Excuse me. Allergies. What up with it, though? LSU is ranked number 7 in the preseason rankings per ESPN right now. We'll touch on that as well. What do I think about that? It's ESPN, man. When are y'all going to stop listening to them? I hope it's now. I hope that after this show, you'll be like, you know what? ESPN's got a lot of good talent like Herb Street and Fowler. They really suck at football power indexes and ranking teams 1 through 10. They really suck. All right. We'll get into that. And as we do every Tuesday and Thursday, hashtag Ask Blake. Thought, questions, concerns. Bring them inside the Rudy Crew chat, and we'll get to as many of them as we can. Jeremy Fontana says, bless your soul, Blake. I give that sneeze a solid 7.5. You know what? I don't give a 7.5. Let's just get this out of the way right quickly. Can we just get this out of the way? Let me just say this. If you dust your crawfish, I had to hear from people in the 337 all day today. We're the crawfish capital of the world. No, you're not. No, you are not. talk to many of great people in the 337 today who do not dust their crawfish. Oh, well, we put a little extra spice on it and it melts through. It doesn't get to the meat. There are certain people in the world who dust their crawfish. Jeffrey Dahmer was one of them. The river killer was another. Psychopaths legitimately dust their crawfish. Do not dust your crawfish. In case you missed it, the University of South Louisiana had a crawfish bowl for their football team where they were dusting their crawfish. And let me say this. I agree that the 337 probably has the best food. Okay? Like, no question. No question. I mean, it's phenomenal. But if you're from the 337, tell me right now, do you dust them bad babies? Because look, I got Jeremy in here saying dusting is for river rats. I agree. Delton says, I'm in the 337 and you do not dust your crawfish. I mean, I would get Zach's take, producer Zach's take on it, but he thinks mayonnaise is spicy. So, I mean, it's really difficult for me when your producer thinks mayonnaise has got a little tang to it, doesn't it, Mr. Blake? Oh, man. Stool bus driver says, hashtag Ask Blake, the best fried catfish is in Washington Parish. I think it's either, if you want the best catfish in the world, I think that it is in true, probably in Washington Parish. Just pick your location. I also believe that Mike's Catfish Inn in Amite, Louisiana, is probably the best catfish seafood place you will find. Without question. Without question. I got Josh Johnson in here on Facebook saying, hell no, you don't dust your crawfish. What's wrong with people, man? Why do you dust it? Brad Bohannon dusts his crawfish. Brad Bohannon dusts his crawfish. Not only does he, bet on his team. Look at it. Look at Brad Bohannon. I don't know how you just did that, but change it back. Change it back. There you go. I don't know how you did that, but that's Brad Bohannon. I might not be a handsome man. Now we should get a real picture of Brad Bohannon. So remember this guy right here. Now let's get a pic of Brad Bohannon. Now let's get a pic of Brad Bohannon. Oh, all right. Jeremy says, that's him, Bobby. And says, Mike's Catfish Inn is the best. Yeah, Mike's Catfish Inn in Amite, Louisiana. You cannot beat it, man. When we had Thanksgiving with my brother, it was just my brother and my sisters and all their kids and my kids. They came over to my house, and we got it catered from Mike's Catfish, man. I'm telling you, you cannot beat it. All right, a couple more. Jace Cole says, I'm from the 337 and do not dust. That's for Northern Louisiana peeps. I agree. You just don't do it. Father Abear gives us a declaration of Jesus. I'm from the 337 and I used to bowl for a restaurant. You never dust your crawfish. You never dust your crawfish. Are you a Rudy Poo? Jesus would not dust his crawfish. Bottom line. He could hit a curveball, though. All right, let's get this thing rolling. Everybody do us a favor by hitting the like and share. Share to all of those social media groups. If you're listening to us on Facebook, share to your own social media pages, share to those groups as well. If you're listening to us on YouTube, man, y'all are killing it for us on YouTube right now. Thank you so much for everybody that's subscribing, Do us a favor if you haven't done so already. Like, subscribe, notification bell, hit that share button as well. If you're listening to us on Twitter, yes, on Twitter, hit that retweet button. If you're listening to us wherever you listen to podcasts, rate, review, and subscribe as well. All right, let's get this thing rolling. Let's talk about our good friends over at betonline.ag. Good friends over at GM Varno and Sons. Brian Kelly and Nick Saban feuding a little bit. Let's talk a little bit of baseball. Got much more LSU stuff to get in before Mr. Wilcox gets here. Back with you next. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way for you to wager on all of your favorite sports, contests, events with the first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews for all the news for each league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, college sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all of your sports information for live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head on over to BetOnline today and use your mobile device to join and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50, that's BELIEVE50, BLEAV 50, to receive your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag, betonline.ag. With over 65 years of experience, nobody is better equipped to service in your vehicle than GM Varno & Sons. RV repair, big rig overhauls, motorhome chassis, routine maintenance, tire rotations, tire sales. No job is too big or too small over at GM. If you break down the side of the road in the greater Baton Rouge area, they will come and get you. And the best thing about that is that they can come and get you, and then they can bring your vehicle back to their shop and start the repairs right then. Again, GM Varno & Sons. Go see them over at 2500 Fuller Boulevard. Give them a call at 225-664-9992. 225-664-9992. Tell them your good friend Blake Ruffino sent you on by. Dylan Nation says Bohannon is a Rudy Poo. Damn crawfish duster. I agree, man. Look, I just why would you want seasoning? So look, if you dust your crawfish, why would you want seasoning on your hands, man? Get it in that meat. I mean, come on. Massive pause. But come on. It melts through the shell, Mr. Blake. No, it doesn't. That's why you get the boil in there. That's why you let them sit there and soak. Not sure what Zach is really doing here. He's messing up the show. He's mad because Jesus actually does eat crawfish. See, Linda says, we don't dust our crawfish and look. Oh my God. Oh, they're the same person. This is the guy from The Waterboy. I might not be a handsome man. They even got the same tooth gap. Oh my God. Brad Bohannon, you idiot. You crawfish duster. What are you doing? What are you doing? Oh. All right, we'll get to Brad Bohannon in a little bit. Speaking of LSU and Alabama, we do got to get to one thing before we get rolling. I'm not sure if you saw this this week, but Brian Kelly was taken a little bit out of context. He was in Texas. He made a comment about how much he loves college football and said something to the degree, I'm not really quoting, but I'm sure that you saw it, where Brian Kelly says, I love college football and I love having basically saying he loved to have the ability to beat Alabama and he loves beating Alabama. And then it sent the Alabama Crimson Tide fans into a very big uproar. Brian Kelly beats Nick Saban once and he thinks he can talk trash. Yeah, a little. Because when Brian Kelly finally had the same talent that Nick Saban did, he beat him. what's also interesting and why I didn't understand why Alabama fans were making such a big deal of Brian Kelly saying, I am glad and I want to be able to beat the Alabama Crimson Tide. I'm old enough to remember about a year ago, Nick Saban was the one that ran his little short behind out on a stage in an NIL event in Tuscaloosa and literally said that Jimbo's paying players, Deion's paying players, Cristobal's paying players. They're not doing NIL the right way. They're just buying their recruiting classes. And yet Alabama fans, I understand, might have short memories. I mean, Brad Bohannon certainly had a short memory, I would assume. But don't make this feud bigger than what it is. Now, if you want to, we can do that. Because I do think it speaks a lot of volumes, right, about what Nick Saban has done within the last year. Let's talk about it. Maybe not Nick Saban specifically, but just what's going on around the University of Alabama. You know, their defensive coordinator getting arrested. The Brandon Miller gun situation. Not only that, you having Brad Bohannon fired today. Oh, and by the way, this past month, your athletic director was arrested on domestic violence for physically abusing his wife. I know that a lot of things have been really bad around LSU at times. I get that. Has it been worse than this, what Alabama's facing? You know, what's even not even having to talk about all off the field, you can even talk about on the field. You know, I would ask Nick Saban, why did you hire Tommy Rees and have to go get Tyler Buckner as your starting quarterback? Those two guys are pedigrees or mentors or mentees of Brian Kelly. I know that Alabama fans think that they can make this feud bigger than what it is, but you shouldn't. You shouldn't. Nobody's really scared of you right now. No, guys, I don't remember a time in my life over the last decade, maybe decade and a half, that I go into a season worrying about having to play Alabama. Why should we? LSU, as an example, is 2-2 against Alabama in the last 4 years. What am I worried about Alabama for? You're split. We're 50-50. By the way, LSU did it with two different coaches. One of them in his first year and 1 year when a guy won a national title. Now, that guy did dust his crawfish, which is kind of disgusting, but I don't really think Ed did that. Don't make this feud bigger than what it is, because you have to go out there and prove to people just as much as everybody else. You know, one thing that I don't agree always with the Saban. Now, I'm a product of it. I believe it because it majority of the times is true, because Nick Saban is a really good coach. I hear the arguments all the time. He's not a great coach. He's a great recruiter. He gets the best talent. Well, that makes him, in turn, one of the best coaches. Can't just say he's just an elite recruiter, because over time, his coaching would get exposed. He's lost games. He's outcoached himself. Sure. I don't think, though, right now, you can run out here and say, well, Nick Saban has 6 national title rings, so he's above reproach. He's not. The field showed that. I know that Will Anderson was a number 3 overall pick. Or number 3 overall pick in this past draft. He still got his absolute butt torn up by LSU this past year. Bryce Young was a 50% completion percentage guy against LSU. Did Alabama miraculously get better? And if any Alabama fan can come in here and tell me where specifically you got better than having the Heisman Trophy winning quarterback, the number 1 overall quarterback in the NFL draft, and a number 3 edge rusher, how you got better, please come in here and tell me in the comments. Because if you can't do that, I'm going to be quiet. Nobody's scared of you. Even if LSU loses, you go into this game, you're not scared of Alabama. Alabama. Don't make this feud bigger than what it is. I'm going to continue to say it because I know that LSU's got to go into Tuscaloosa. You're not better than LSU right now. You know that, and I know that. So if Brian Kelly wants to run out there and say something to a coaching clinic and then on 3 has something to say, it is what it is. Just don't make it bigger than what it is. Speaking of LSU football, though, LSU was ranked by ESPN as the number 7 team in preseason. I don't agree with it, right? You know, and I know, I just don't agree with it. I don't agree with what a lot of things that ESPN or just, guys, we're in May. I guess now you can add, since you're post-spring, you can make a top 10 list. Okay, cool. You're going to have to justify to me, though, why some of these teams are in the top 10, top 25. Georgia, I'm with you. They're the reigning, defending, back-to-back national title champs. Okay, let's show them the respect. I'm with you there. What you got Ohio State number 2 for? They don't have a quarterback at the current moment. The last real, true, great quarterback they had is out of the building in C.J. Stroud. DeJuan Haskins isn't in that building. Joe Burrow's not in that building. No, Joe Burrow just went down to LSU. It's going to be interesting to see what people really feel about this team. Because LSU, and we talked about this some last night, LSU is still attacking the portal at a high rate. Logan Diggs is in the portal. He's on a visit to Ole Miss today. Still feel pretty good. If you talk to people around the building, feel pretty good about the running back from New Orleans or Nolans and Logan Diggs. Let's see what Trey Adams does. LSU's pieces and what you will see from them in the fall isn't even done yet. It's just kind of really getting started because they get a lot of those pieces back. That's why I just don't understand why you can put LSU at 7, 8, 9, whatever it is, and really rank teams anywhere when the portal is not even complete yet and where some of these high-ranked guys are going to go. Teams are going to still probably hit the portal. You saw Trey Adams, literally the DB, had 14 offers given to him yesterday alone. He's up in the upper 30s right now. We'll have to wait and see. We'll just have to wait and see. But for me, this is where I sit. Okay? Since now all these preseason rankings are starting to come, let me tell you why I sit. I think LSU's a top 5 team. I think LSU has gotten better in a lot of position groups and has more experience than their opponents. I think they're better on the offensive line with Lance Hurd and Mason Lunsford. I think that they're better at receiver, even though Keishon Boutte has left. I think you're better at running back. I think both of your quarterbacks have shown that they have progressed and gotten so much better in Jane Daniels and Garrett Nussmeier. I think you got better at tight end because you have more depth there. You're not playing 4 walk-ons. Guys, you would go in 14 personnel. If you don't know what 14 personnel is, it's 1 running back and 4 tight ends. LSU did that on the goal line like 7 times last season. It was Mason Taylor and 3 walk-ons. Now you got Mac Markway, Kai Pimpton is coming into town. You've gotten much better at tight end. You've gotten deeper on the defensive line. You've honestly gotten better at linebacker with Omar Spates. The talent that you have at DB with guys like Zy Alexander, Denver Harris, and others, and with talented freshmen coming in like Javian Taviano, and I kind of forgot this guy, Deshaun Womack as well. How can you tell me that LSU hasn't gotten better? What level did they not get better in? Oh, and forgot to mention, sorry, LSU might have the best overall defensive player in the country. His name's Harold Perkins. So as these preseason rankings continue to come out, put LSU wherever you want. I don't really care. It's going to work itself out. It's going to work itself out week one. You know, I saw one guy today put up his preseason poll, and he had Florida State number 3. Sounds good. Sounds fantastic. I love that. Because if LSU wins, that means they're going to be in the top 3. Hell, they might even be 2 behind Georgia. Needless to say, I'm not worried. I tell the producers this. I tell Zach and them this all the time. I used to worry about Ed Orgeron like the day is long. I used to stay up and worry because I just look, man. I think that you guys know as of now, we've come into this business and we've kind of made a little bit of a name for ourselves. I love that you like to come to this show and listen to us. Makes me feel good. Makes me feel good when, I'm with my son Ben and my wife Megan at the Southeastern baseball game, and LSU people, literally, we got out the truck and we couldn't get 20 feet without 6 or 7 people yelling at us. I love that. And thank you so much for doing that. Since we've started this business, I used to worry and panic over Orgeron. I don't really give two Rudy. I don't worry about Brian Kelly's the least of my worries throughout the day. And I got to tell you, it's relieving. It's 1,000% relieving. I like it, man. And I really like this team. Look, you guys, I think that this debate is played out some, right? You can have your quarterback. Pick them. I don't care at this point. I think both of them can lead you to a national title. I really do believe that. I think Garrett, if he minimizes those turnovers and he starts getting that number down, he could lead you wherever he wants to go. Guys, I saw the Jane Daniels mic'd up thing today. It's a lot of the same stuff that I've been telling you on the show for over a year since he's been at LSU. The kid's a competitor. You heard him yelling at Brian Kelly? You heard him yelling at Brian Kelly on the mic'd up thing today? No, coach, you should have made me go for 2. I want to win. Guys, we're talking about a spring game. Those kinds of dudes are cut from different cloths, man. They're cut from different cloths. I start getting to a point where I see where LSU has gotten better. They won the West a season ago. I see where Georgia has gotten better in areas. Guys, they've gotten better at wide receiver. They've gotten better, I think, at DB, believe it or not. I think that they're still going to be a really damn good team. I don't see where Alabama's gotten better. I don't see where A&M, who, by the way, literally has had 31 players hit the portal since December. I just don't see it. Who, Florida scares you? Jet Sweep Billy Napier? G5 Billy scares you? I can go line for line, position group by position group. I just think that Alabama and some of the teams in the West have regressed a little bit, where I'm going to make a hot take. Here's my hot take of the night. I fully believe that the East has gotten better with Georgia, Tennessee, South Carolina. There are teams out there that are scrappy. Man, when you play Tennessee, and LSU, for example, doesn't have to, when you play Tennessee, brother, you better bring your lunch pail. Let me enter in and see how and what happens. Let's do this. Let's get to LSU baseball versus Auburn. after our great next guest, Solomon Wilcox, who will be joining us. Guys, we're in the studio, baby. Got the Joe Burrow signed jersey over here. Got Jamar Chase attire over here. I want to know about what's going on with the Bengals. Is Joey Burrow about to be the highest paid NFL player of all time? Got the 5th-year option. Let's talk about some Bengals. My man, Solomon, was also from Colorado. Let's talk about some Deion, too. Literally looking forward to this. Our good buddy joins us next. Let's talk about our good friend Carol Falls over at State Farm. We'll be back. 45 seconds. Stay tuned. Guys, you might know my good friend Carol Falls and all the great service that he provides over at State Farm. He is your good neighbor after all. But did you know State Farm has surprisingly great rates as well? Along with the great neighbor service, State Farm agent Carol Falls has surprisingly great rates for everyone inside the state of Louisiana. So call him today at 985-395-4300, 985-395-4300 for all of those surprisingly great rates on auto, home, and life insurance needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, and individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to the State Farm underwriting requirements. The man, the myth, the legend, Solomon Wilcox joins us. Good evening, sir. How are you tonight?
Hey, Blake, I'm doing great. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you fantastic. Can you hear me? You were good? You got us too?
Yep, I got you good. I'm doing great, and good to be on the show with you.
Solomon, I'm gonna come out the gate with it. I gotta know. The LSU people gotta know. Is Joey B about to be the highest paid quarterback in the country and highest player in the NFL of all time? Look, Lamar just got his contract. Is Joey B about to get paid?
Yeah, I think right now, if you're the agent for Joe Burrow, right, you're probably going to wait for Justin Herbert to do his thing because you're not going to sign before his and allow his to exceed yours. And there's no doubt he's outperformed the rookie contract, right? He's taken this team to two straight AFC title games. He's won back-to-back AFC North Division titles. You and I both know this is a division of bullies now with Baltimore, right, Pittsburgh. And look, you can say what you want about Cleveland, but I think they have one of the best edge rushers in Myles Garrett in our league, and I think they have one of the top shutdown corners in Denzel Ward. So, the Bengals have struggled with Cleveland. So this is no cakewalk in the AFC North.
So let me ask you this, because I'll get to Jamar and the team and how, what's going on with the Bengals specifically. Simon, do you think that there's got some guys along that offensive line to protect Joe? Because, man, I got to tell you, look, I am a Joe Burrow apologist. When I see him get hit, Simon, man, I get weak to my stomach. I get the bubble guts, man. I get nervous. Did they do good getting him some more guys on that up front on that O-line?
No, I think we should. I'm telling you now, they've put down a ton of money, and then they doubled down on that. And now they've tripled down with Orlando Brown Jr. I mean, and then taking them from the Chiefs, I think was a really great
massive
move.
addition. That's such a massive addition.
Yeah. So last year we spent more money than anyone on an offensive line, and all we do is we let Joe get sacked 7 times in week 1 against Pittsburgh. But right about after Halloween, that just throw 5 guys together. It's going to be a little bit tough. But those guys did settle in. The Bengals ended up winning about 9 or 10 games straight to close out the season.
Right.
And that offensive line really got good. Even when they had lost 3 starters again, they played very well when they went to Buffalo. So, no, I think Alex Kappa, Ted Karras, these guys, Volston, I thought he played really good for a rookie. He's only going to be better. And then you kick Jonah Williams over there to right tackle, and he can hold up, I think. And then you're going to get, at some point, you're going to get Lyle Collins back, right? So the key is going to be about, can the offensive line stay healthy? I do think they're going to be able to work very well together. And I think we're going to be able to run the ball better than they were able to do last year.
Do you think former LSU Tiger as well? Do you think Loyal goes into guard? Do you think that that's something that they work with him instead of being at right tackle, or what do you think happens with him?
I think he's a right tackle because he's a better run blocker than he is pass protector.
No
But
question.
you know what I'm saying? Now he can roll grade with the best of them now, So I think you still want to keep, because remember, they spent money on the other guys at guard. Now Volston, right. They drafted him, so they've got to save some money somewhere.
Right.
But no, I think they're going to keep him at tackle. We'll see beyond this year. This is a year-to-year league, but beyond 2023, you're probably going to lose Jonah Williams, and you may lose Lyle Collins. We'll see if he can hold up beyond, for 3 years on the contract. But right now, we need help at tackle because inside, right now, things are pretty good.
Solid, let me ask you this. I've talked to him. I've been in face-to-face with Joe. And I got to tell you, man, look, he did some fantastic things in Baton Rouge. Solly, I ain't never seen him like this, though. I mean, what he's doing in that, and you talked about that 9 to 10 game stretch where they were just winning.
Yeah.
They, started off slow, then Joe came in. Let me ask you from your perspective, is there something that you've seen in Joe that's changing a little bit in reference to it? Feels to me the interceptions are going down, touchdowns are going up. Is the game just really slowing down for him? And that could be scary because we know the kind of dude Joe is. Do you think it's slowing down even more for him as this is going on in his NFL experience?
Yeah, I mean, think about it. He's played 3 seasons now in the NFL. And, you could see it his rookie year, he was getting more and more comfortable. And then by week 10, he was lost for the year. Okay, then he come in his second year, and you could see early on, a few little struggles. And for whatever it is with Joe, man, it's like he's got to do it the hard way, right? He just like it the hard way, man. He was coming off a knee injury, going into his second season. He's coming off knee constructive surgery. And I remember talking to him. I said, hey, you're only like 8 months post-op.
Right.
I was really afraid for the guy. Like, man, come on, man. Didn't play in the preseason, didn't take a snap. Next thing you know, he's taking the team to the Super Bowl. Who does that? And then coming into year number 3, he's got emergency appendectomy, right? He's got to do it the hard way. He doesn't even practice doing training camp, no preseason games, and then 7 sacks behind this brand new offensive line week 1 against Pittsburgh, 5 more sacks week 2 against Dallas. And they start the season 0-2. So how is it that by the time you get to the end of the regular season, they win this thing going away, right? They take out everybody in the AFC North. He's winning every single week, 8, 9 in a row to finish it out, man. This guy, he's something else. I think he's a hardened competitor. I think he's a genius as a young man. I think he's academically Peyton Manning. He reminds me a lot of Peyton. When I thought Peyton was one of the brightest young quarterbacks I had ever seen. And so I knew that by the time Peyton entered year 6, 7, 8, and 10, this league had no shot. They just had, and that's where Joe is going. So I think what you're seeing is this rise in just seeing enough of defenses. There's only so many blitzes you can throw at these guys. There's only so many coverages. Sooner or later, defensive coordinators like going, that's all I got. That's all I got. And once their mental Rolodex, these young quarterbacks like Joe Burrow, once the mental Rolodex has processed it all, and now you're not giving him anything new, he's going to lay you away. I'm telling you, got no shot. The best thing you could do is hope that you run out of time on the clock. But yeah, he's entering that phase. This is the early phase, but once he enters into his prime, it's going to be something to behold.
Solly, a lot of was made about T. Higgins, but it looks like that they're, that's all settled. That's gonna be fine and done. Jamar Chase, Boyd being back. What's interesting is that as this, and we've seen in the NFL, whether it be with Tom, whether it be with Mahomes, whether it be with Brady, Manning, it doesn't matter. When you keep that same core of specialists, receivers, running backs, etc., by that third and fourth year, things start really, really taking off. We saw Manning, we saw Brady, we've seen Mahomes and Kelsey and those guys. Do you think that this could be a year going into it that this offense is one of the best, if not the best, that we've seen in a long time?
Yeah, I think it's shaping up to be that, right? Because the offensive line is starting to solidify, right?
Right.
T. Higgins, Jamar, and think about it. Jamar Chase is also going into year number 3, right?
Right.
So think about how much he's learned. Like these double coverages that they want to put everybody on Jamar Chase, man. They want to take him away, and then T. Higgins is eating you up. Tyler Boyd is just a junkyard dog that no one can mess with, and they can barely even tackle the guy, let alone cover him. And so, no, they've got a complementary of weapons. And this kid, Chase Brown from Illinois, he reminds you of an Austin Eckler. And I was teasing Zach Taylor, the head coach of the Bengals, like, you got yourself a new toy on third down here. You're hammering away with Joe Mixon on first and second down. Now you're bringing in the sexy, Ferrari, right? This guy's a Porsche, and he can run it, he can catch it, and when he's in space, man, he gonna make a lot of people miss. So I looked at the coach. I know what you're doing here. You can spread everybody out, and then you put him back there with Joe, and you're like, who's gonna run in space with this guy? Because nobody can catch him. So I think they're gonna tax defenses in a way that we haven't even seen done yet by this football team.
And Charlie Jones too. I mean, Charlie Jones ate the Big Ten alive. So look, I know that you got receivers there, but I've seen Charlie Jones live and lit, like right here, eat Ohio State alive, and they don't have scrub DBs. So it'll be interesting. Sami, you talk about the draft. I was really surprised because, we obviously in Louisiana Saints fans, a lot of people thought Myles Murphy was going to fall and get to New Orleans, but the Bengals take Myles Murphy. Then, just for relative, I know that they took the kid out of Michigan, but they also go and get Jordan Battle at pick 95. Really getting back to that defense after some pieces had left. I guess, how do you think that the Bengals did in this draft?
Look, I thought they did really good, exceptionally well, in fact. Duke Tobin last year was the NFL Executive of the Year. His ability to team build and understand where the weak points are, and then to maybe even be ahead of the curve. I think they kind of knew they were going to lose Jesse Bates, so they went out and used the first-round pick last year on Dax Hill, gave him a year to kind of learn from Bates and Von Bell, I'm going to tell you right now, Von Bell was really a tone setter in a way that people don't truly understand. We absolutely are going to miss him. We're going to miss Jesse Bates. There's no doubt. But Lou Anarumo has got to get these young guys ready to play. So, remember last year, they also in the second round, they took Cam Taylor-Britt, who played in a lot of those big time games. This he's a dude now. We love some Cam Taylor-Britt. And so now they go in the second and third round. You get DJ Turner, 4.26 in the 40. Right. This guy can flat out fly. He can play outside. He can play in the slot. The cornerback from Michigan, they took him in the second round. And then the third round to get Jordan Battle, to get a guy who's played over 40 career games at Alabama, learning from Nick Saban. All of us former defensive backs now, we stick together. And Coach Saban is a guy that cut his teeth coaching defensive backs, understanding the importance of really being able to communicate. You have to be a thinker. You got to be a guy that can get other people lined up, and you better be able to make plays. You think Jordan Battle's playing all those games for Nick Saban if he wasn't in lockstep with what Coach wanted every single game, every single week, all those years down in Alabama? So he's a tried and true veteran. I think he comes in, and I can see this guy getting major snaps year one.
I'm coming back to you being a DB, especially a little out west from we are, because there's a lot of things going on in Colorado right now. So we're going to talk about that. I do got to ask you, Lamar Jackson. Mm-hmm. Look, Solly, this is why I don't listen to people. okay? Because all I heard was he was getting traded. We heard it all, and all of a sudden, here he comes. Look, I think they're the best two quarterbacks in that division. It's just gonna be a dogfight between the Ravens and the Bengals moving forward. I guess. What do you think about Lamar and some of the things they're doing offensively and him signing back with the Ravens?
Look, I'm gonna tell you, I've told people Lamar Jackson is must-see TV. And a lot of people are going to say, well, you didn't see anyone offering him a contract when they put the non-exclusive tag on him. And I would tell you right now, teams are smarter than that. Why are we going to do the work for the Baltimore Ravens, right? Why am I going to put some offer together to help the Ravens only understand that they got to come back and match it, right?
Right.
You can't do the poison pills. Those days are gone. But my whole point to this is Lamar Jackson was finally got the contract that he deserved. He worked for it. He earned it. I remember when he first took over the job there. Coach John Harbaugh was in the last year of his contract. They were struggling. They're getting ready to fire him. Okay. He a stroke of genius. I'm going to play Lamar. I'm going to tailor the offense to him. Sorry, Joe Flacco. I got to do what I got to do. By the end of the year, Lamar played so well. The coach gets a new contract. The general manager gets a new contract. Everybody gets a new contract. And then when Lamar gets eligible for one the same year as Josh Allen, he don't get his new contract. Mm-hmm. He waited 2 years to get that deal, but rightfully so, ended up getting the deal that he deserves. But he's a former MVP. He's a force multiplier. And, yeah, it's a great rivalry right now between he and Joe Burrow, the Ravens and the Bengals. But I look, I'm not writing Deshaun Watson off either. I've seen what he can do. And once he shakes off the rust, something tells me he's going to become part of that deal as well.
I don't disagree with you there either, Solly. You know who else is making a lot of waves is Coach Primetime. Now, a little birdie chirped in my ear and said that you went to Colorado as well. So I got to ask you this. Deion's making a lot of news out here in Colorado, bringing kids in, letting kids leave. It's rubbing some people the wrong way. Some people are like, look, man, if this works, this is going to change college football forever. I guess now that you see Coach Prime out there in Colorado and what he's doing, what are your thoughts about what's going on out there?
First of all, Coach Prime was not the one who initiated NIL. He wasn't the one that denied kids access to their name, image, and likeness for centuries, for over 100 years, right? And then when the Supreme Court told the NCAA, hey, you need to fix this because you're not going to like our ruling, you know what they did? They did nothing.
Right.
They showed no leadership. So now we got this thing called a transfer portal. Now we got this thing called NIL. Had nothing to do. Don't go blaming Prime for that. But if you're going to coach in major college football today, you can't ignore it. You better learn how to use it, how to leverage that to build a team. And I can tell you right now, if this was LSU and they were losing, only winning one game a year, and you saw that you had a portal, you had NIL, you would say, wow, we could turn this thing around faster than at any other point in the whole history of college football. That's what you would be saying to yourself, right? So now that Colorado's going to use these tools, it's kind of like, we have a saying where I'm from. Don't hate the player, hate the game. Like right. if you don't like what the player's doing, the player's only playing the game and using the tools that he have at his disposal. And if you don't like that, then you should not like the game the way that it's set up, the way that the board is laid out. So he brings a lot of charisma, a lot of energy. You and I both know that. He's going to rely on great coaching staff that he's been able to put together to get these kids ready to play. And at the end of the day, it's about winning games. You and I both know that. But guess what? Players have been jumping in the portal. And now you're like, some of them you might say, okay, well, I don't mind him leaving. This one, oh, no, I don't want him to leave. But at the same time, as a coach, you have no control over that. Mm-hmm. So you got to use this portal to recruit as well. And he's doing that, and he's doing it more in an overt, active way. And I do think that has rubbed some people the wrong way. But guess what? You're not in his shoes. You're not taking on a team that won only one game last season. Because if you did, you might feel a little bit different about it. So I just think the landscape of college football, Blake, is changing so much. And some of these things we're just not used to. It's a new mode. It's a new era. And because of those customs that have now in the past, they're in the rear view. I covered college football. I covered college basketball. You might go check your calendar because it wasn't within a month's time, right within that period of time. Two of the great college basketball coaches that I've known, Coach K at Duke and Roy Williams at North Carolina, they said, I'm done. They're like, you know what?
Right.
Now, they didn't say they retired because of NIL, but I've known those men. I've sat and met with them. I know how important coaching is to them. They were already dealing with this portal. They're already dealing with one and done. And now you throw this in there, man, it was within a month or two that both of them simultaneously, right? This is my last year. This will be my last year because they're men of different principles. They saw the landscape. But if you're a young coach, like Coach Prime, if you're a young coach, now you know what you're doing. You're like, hey, this is the profession I chose, and I got to deal with it. Now watch me deal. That's the attitude he's got. Watch me deal.
Right. And Jay Wright, I know the chat's saying like Jay Wright left too. I mean, Jay Wright went on CBS during the Final Four, Solly, and said, guys, I just can't, I don't have the energy.
That's right.
To go through that. And so I'm out for a little while to recatch my breath. I lied. One last one to you. Okay. What do you think the over-under is on how many wins Coach Prime can get in year one, do you think?
Man, look, I'm hoping we get 7. And I guarantee you, if he's listening right now, man, that's too low. He's telling me that, but I'm gonna be realistic. I'm not gonna put that 10-win deal on him, not just yet, because you and I both know this. Like, look, you can bring in some great players, 5 stars, 4 stars, just because you throw that jersey on them and throw 4 and 5-star next to their name doesn't mean that it comes together. Because that's what really winning is about. It's the chemistry. It's the bond. It's about the culture. Look, when I was at Colorado, we went from losers to winners. By the time I left, we're going to back-to-back bowl games. We have recruited a class that within 3 years after I left won a national championship.
Right.
You see, and told every last one of them that we could see it coming. Brought a lot of them in from my hometown in Los Angeles, California. I grew up in Compton, California, went to high school out in Riverside, California. We recruited all up and down the coast. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you right now, and we were getting them out of there so quick because I remember going to Coach Mack. I said, Coach, you let me go get a few dudes from my hometown. I guarantee you we'll get some guys in here. They ain't afraid of Nebraska and Oklahoma. And guess what? That's exactly what we did. That's exactly what we did.
Well, I did, for me, I just look, if he has success, it makes college football better. So that's why I want to see him, succeed. That's it. And look, Solly, if we're going to a 12-team playoff next year. It's a really good chance Deion could get in that thing if he gets enough wins and gets enough in the Pac-12 to get in there. Solly, you've been great, man. I'm glad that Eric hooked us up. I know that we're with our partners at Believe, so shout out to Eric. He's always on me to get better, so shout out to him. But, Solly, thank you so much, man, for joining us. You have a good night. We'll talk to you soon, especially when the NFL starts kicking off again.
Well, Blake, thanks for having me. We want everyone to make sure that you check out the Believe in Bengal podcast with yours truly as the host. You can watch it on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and the Sirius XM app. So thanks for having me, Blake. Greatly appreciate you.
No, man, thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon, brother.
All the best. Bye-bye.
All right, that's Solomon Wilcox with us. Man, fantastic, dude. That dude's so good, man. I mean, I listen to him all the time because of Joe, and, I want to know what's going on with them. So he's so good. He's really good. I do want to break down this LSU baseball weekend. So, Zach, let's do this. Let's take a very quick break, though. Let's talk about our good friends over the Drake Williams Law Firm, drakewilliamslawfirm.com. We'll wrap it up in about 5 minutes. Stay back with us.
By the Drake Williams Law Firm, drakewilliamslawfirm.com. Whether you've been injured in an accident, you're preparing for a future with your estate planning, you're getting ready to close in on a real estate deal, or you're about to welcome a new addition through adoption into your family, or you're facing criminal charges, you need very experienced attorneys, and that is what the Drake Williams Law Firm will be able to do for you in navigating the legal system. The door to their cozy office in historic downtown Ponchatoula has been open since 1981. They have helped thousands and thousands of Louisiana families and individuals win cases, close on real estate deals, and regain that peace of mind. Their lawyers over at the Drake Williams Law Firm, Ernie Drake III, Ryan J. Williams, and Summer Vignair, are very determined, compassionate, and dedicated to their craft. It's the Drake Williams Law Firm, drakewilliamslawfirm.com. Give them a call today at 985-386-7600. Tell them your good friend Blake Ruffino at AYS sent you on by.
I'm not going to be long here because I got to cut it a little bit short tonight. Look, in a very quick 1-minute monologue, we talked about this last night. We'll talk about it again tomorrow when we do the post game. Auburn can hit, man. Auburn can really hit. Ike Iris is hitting 370. Bryson Ware hitting 347. Cole Foster hitting 327. Cooper McMurray's hitting 350 in the SEC. Bobby Pierce is hitting 373. Look, they can hit, man. They can hit. I agree with Zach here. You can put it up. He says Auburn's pitching backwards this weekend, throwing their ace on Saturday. He's right there. Look, it's just going to be a long weekend. They can hit really well. Let's see what they do. All right, we'll see y'all tomorrow night for the post game. Peace out, Girl Scouts.